Apologies for that little bit of a blackout. It seems we've had a few gremlins around today, but we should be fine to keep going in this matchup between Warwick and Hallam. And Jackalopes decided to switch onto the Baptiste. I think that's fine, to be honest. That does allow as well Lizard to push a bit further forward away from the supports. And that's going to help it even more playing the Kiriko. Kiriko is very strong at the moment, and I'm not surprised to see that come out. You do have I'm Washed Up, potentially going for the first shot on the Widowmaker before going for a switch onto something else.
Yeah, Jackalope, he's not too sure on what he wants to play, Kiriko or Baptiste. I maybe prefer the Kiriko because it's a little bit more survivable with the Moira, but Baptiste, like you said, excellent with the Ramatra pick. So we'll see what he can get done on this map here as Warwick start their push. I'm Washed Up getting some good shots onto Blaine, forces the cleanse from Kore as Rin tries to teleport up and look for a little flank here, but he's going to be forced out immediately, and I'm Washed Up going to land the body shot bandit on the window. Oh my goodness, never mind, eat my words. Gets the kill onto Tarragon as well, shutting down the superstar of this lobby so far, and Warwick getting a nice early push onto this point here.
Yeah, not as washed up as the name suggests, and now Six just has to try and stay alive. Both of the supports have been found now, though, and it's going to be an attempt to sprint away. Six is going to be, well, both of them are going to be staggered for a long time, and that's about as good of a start as Warwick would have wanted to have after their defense side.
Yeah, this is like arguably a better start than Hallam got. Excellent stagger onto the backline, and I'm Washed Up's gonna have the wall hacks activated here, just SMGing down Blade, not even bothering to scope in, despite having the imprecise grips. Goes for a little bit of a bold dash there, isn't able to find Tarragon, gets good help from Six and Core there on the backline, but they're coming up on a few ults. Lahaina notably is coming up on the Coalescence, might just pop it immediately, but Lizard doesn't build it up in time and is going to fall, and Hallam managing to finally get a little bit of leeway in this first point defense.
Yeah, unfortunately Lahaina turns around at just the wrong moment, goes to heal the Genji, and by that time your Ramatra has been felled by the opposing Hanzo, and unfortunately for Warwick, it hasn't been Lizard doing most of the damage, and you look at the rest of the team, they don't have the ult back that Hallam have, and this is going to be really rough to fight back into. That does help, though.
Yeah, early pick from Lahaina. There's so many kills by this Moira. Don't know how she's getting it done, but it's working. But oh well, Rin decides to stop that nonsense and gets a good trade in as he continues to barrage of KKs, gets the kill onto I'm Washed Up, but the window from Jackalope might help turn the tide here as Rin's going to be dropping 1 HP as Lizard marches on with the Nemesis form as Warwick managed to get capture of the first point here.
Yeah, them taking down Blaine initially just means that there's no one to contest the point. I mean, Tarragon could have gone on there, but at the end of the day, how much is a Hanzo going to do against a Nemesis-formed Ramatra? Not very much.
Not at all. Not at all. Once you lose the Orisa in an Orisa comp, it kind of just all falls apart, right? The Orisa needs to not die, and Lahaina gonna try cause a couple deaths here with the... Oh my goodness, where is she? She's in the backline. Tarragon shuts that down, manages to stop the Coalescence from actually finding any value, but Lizard maybe going to be able to find value of his own coming up from the Annihilation, so when this Nemesis forms in, he could cycle it into something else, but Graves trying to steal his thunder, gets a kill with the blade, and Tarragon gets a trade back, but Lizard in the front line of Lizard and Graves is going to be too much for Hallam to handle. Rin trying to get a couple trades back, but it's not going to be enough as Warwick continue to push on to the second point.
Yeah, Lahaina started off that fight going, where am I? I'm in your backline, I'm in your walls. Tarragon says, you're in the ground, but it doesn't really matter, and Blaine hasn't been able to use this Terror Surge yet, so they still have it in the back pocket for this fight to be able to contest point, but Lizard coming back soon as well, and I'm Washed Up is just going to be able to melt this Orisa as soon as they go for it. Doesn't matter though, they get the first pick onto I'm Washed Up.
Yeah, Warwick started the fight without their tank being there. They started going before Lizard had even got back. You know, I'm Washed Up used the Bastion form, the turret form, but Blaine's just able to go, nope, Terror Surge, and they still have a good ult bank.
Yeah, I think they saw the opportunity to try and push, knowing that they didn't have any ults of their own, but you've got so many coming up on the other side 4 of them, in fact. The DPS ults aren't going to be the best ones that you could have on the playing field, but they're going to be enough, especially with the support ults that you've got as well. This is going to be tough to engage back into as they try and posture forward with Lizard returning to the fight.
He has used the barrier and used the slow, so it doesn't actually have any cooldowns to take space with. As Rin goes for a cheeky little angle over the wall, lands a couple shots, and has the bola in the pocket, but gonna be dropping very low. Suzu forced from Core there, as she does have the Kitsune, but Tarragon decides to go for the dragon. They've been eating good today, but Lahaina tries to shut it down with the Coalescence and shuts Tarragon down this game. But I'm washed up, gonna be falling to this Orisa, but 6. Proving the DPS potential of this Baptiste Jackalope as well. Both Baptiste finding a lot of value in this team fight as Lahaina tries to fade back to her Ramatra, keep her tank alive, as 6 tries to do the same with the Orisa, and it's just going to be both tanks brawling out on the point right now. 6 does have the window, but I'm washed up is coming from spawn with the artillery strike. Oh my goodness. Oh, cleanse just in time by Core as she decides to drop the Kitsune rushes. Blaine goes for the Terror Surge. Core's going to find the kill onto Lizard, and Warwick are again going to be forced out here.
Yeah, you see how long this fight has gone on, but the fact that Blaine is able to build up another Terror Surge before it ends, and Warwick's just going to have to back away after having lost Lizards, and now you're a minute left, and it's getting a bit rough. I mean, you're sort of worried a little bit. The window placement from Jackalope, although it helps initially, they were just able to bypass it and play forward of it, so it didn't help in the backline. But 6 is going to be the only one with an ult coming into this fight. Grapes is going to have Blade soon, so keep an eye out for that one as well.
It's kind of all on the shoulders of 6 here to try zone early with this window. Rin looking for an early pick on the Freya, doesn't manage to find it as Grapes and Lizard have built up their ults. I think Warwick played quite slow there to just farm up the ults, and I think they may be looking to go in now. I'm washed up, uses the turret form. They're going to be speared back by 6, by Blaine, sorry, as Lizard goes for the Nemesis form, but I'm washed up is going to fall, and Rin's going to go for the Bola shot, and it's all or nothing right now for Warwick as Lizard goes for the Annihilation, but Lahaina tries to go for the Coalescence, but it doesn't matter. But Grapes is getting a few kills on the other side. He's 3 kills, and it's going to be a 2v1 on the point. It's all up to Grapes right now. Blane's going to be dropping so low, and there's no supports. Gets the deflect onto the tank, and it's going to be a 1v1 on the car right now for the second point, and Rin looking for something, but he doesn't have any cooldowns, and he lands the shot onto Grapes, but it's going to be so low, and Rin manages to clutch it out and win the entire map for Warwick, but no, I'm washed up makes the swap to Tracer, and Lahaina's just back in time, and this is still going. 6 drops the window, but they're not going to be able to touch despite all that Grapes could do, and that's a win for Hallam. Oh my goodness.
Grapes puts in absolutely everything to try and win that fight. The Blade is huge, but in the background you can see Blaine does well to ignore the Annihilation from the Ramatra and instead finds Lahaina before the end of the fight. So that really helps them with their ability to not have to play the role of the play role of having the 2v1 in the ending up stage with the support gone. That meant that Grapes just had to play on the point, and that helps Rin, is that you know where they're going to have to play around, especially when you're on the Freya. You have the ability to play around the you have the ability to play around your little bit of explosion damage, because you're not just going to hit everyone with that. You have the ability to play around that, but a very close overtime on second point. You still would have had to push through third to get through to another round, but they do well. They make sure that they get close to getting at least to third point and making it close. And they definitely had a better shot on their attacking side, but we'll see where they decide to go next.
Yeah, Warwick, it didn't seem like they had too much life in them on their first couple points on defense, but they're proving that this is a game that they can fight for. That 3rd point defense by them was quite admirable. You know, despite all odds, despite Hallam having all the momentum, they still managed to get something done on the attack. They still managed to press forward, or stop Hallam's press forward more like, and they managed to put on a decent attack themselves. They almost got the second point. It was honestly quite unlucky that they didn't get the second point because the lamp from Jackalope was just a split second late to saving Lahaina, and that could have turned. I mean, that could have. We could still be talking about the map right now. We could still be looking at third point, but it's just how Overwatch goes sometimes. The tiniest little margins at any level of play can make all the difference, and commiserations honestly to Grapes in particular. That final fight, I've never that was if he'd have clutched that up, that may be the hypest thing I've ever seen. The deflect onto the Orisa was that was beautiful. That was gorgeous. I loved I love to see that. That was amazing. But
Yeah, I mean, it looked like they were going to win the 2v1 out for the moment. That would have been an ace for them as well, because I believe they got 3 kills with the blade in the backline. And yeah, rough time for them, but at least then they have something to build on for map 2, which we should be bringing you shortly. I just can't believe they didn't manage to get that. That was so close. And they had numbers coming back as well. They had Lahaina coming back, who just died before the end of the map. They had Jackalope coming back on the Baptiste, and yeah, it's so close for them to be able to take that back, but just not quite able to reach the point in time for the overtime. I mean, hindsight, potentially you could have swapped onto something that would have gotten there a little bit quicker, like the Lucio, but at the end of the day, hindsight is hindsight, and you would have had to win out the fight anyway. So commiserations for Warwick on that first point, but they have the ability to go to second. And I believe there is a switch up that we're seeing. Lizard and I'm Washed Up are swapping roles. So Washed Up is going to be on the tank role, and Lizard's going to be on the DPS, which when we were being told about these two teams beforehand by the teams themselves, Lizard did mention that they were that he was a DPS main, but he was playing off role on tank. So obviously they don't have a full-time tank to play around. So they're going to switch things up and see if it will help them in their second map.
I think that's quite interesting because I thought both players were doing like quite a respectable job on their roles. Lizard was, in particular, doing an all right job on the Ram. He's under a lot of pressure this game. He's playing into Hanzo spam damage. He's playing into Orisa, which is what no tank player ever likes doing. So I think Lizard did a good job. I washed up as well on the Widow in particular at the start of Warwick's attack. Did an amazing job. But maybe because we're going to be moving off escort, which is traditionally quite a sniper game mode, Lizard and I'm washed up and like, you know what? Let's just make the swap. I can't play Widow on the next map. But speaking of next map, where do you think that Warwick could go? Where do you think they could go to try close out and bring it back to a 1-1?
I think they should go to a control map. I think they need the close quarters a little bit more to work on their brawly style. That also narrows down the sightline on Tarragon, means that they're not going to be able to use that Hanzo slightly effectively. And we've just heard from our production team that I managed to guess one correctly for once. We are going to Lijiang in a second, and they banned the Hanzo as well. Not too surprising after Tarragon was a bit of a lobby admin on that first map.
Yeah, I mean, I completely respect the Hanzo ban. I'd be banning
Yeah,
Hanzo.
I think everyone in their right mind would be after Tarragon's performance in the
Shut him
first
down.
map.
We do have to mention Rin though on the Freya. Managed to clutch out that final fight, obviously, but put in a very solid performance. Freya does have a ton of spam damage, and Rin was like really putting Warwick to the pain there on that map. And Hallam, they go for the Lucio ban. I'm not too sure what I think about that. Maybe I would have went with the Moira ban, but what do you think about the Lucio ban from Hallam?
I'm not sure about that at all. We saw them play with a backline of firstly Mercy Iari, and then still you had the Moira and the Baptiste, which is fine, but with a Ramatra, initially, if you're playing towards what a meta Ramatra comp would play, you would want the Lucio to speed your tank around the map, but obviously that's not the case of what they wanted to go for. So that's why I'm so surprised to see this Lucio come out. Obviously, you do have the you do lose the ability to speed around a little bit, could be counteracted with a Juno if you really want to. And here we're saying hello to Mr. Squid.
Yeah, they could go for the Juno. I don't see it happening. I do think the Lucio ban by Hallam is weird, but I think it's okay because they were running the Orisa, and Orisa I think is a little bit. It doesn't need speed as much because you can kind of be a little bit of a bunker. Oh my goodness, this Squid is terrifying. We're getting closer and closer every second. Oh my god. I looked away from my screen for a moment to just double check in the production, and I just looked back and I see this massive Squid. But what do you think of the comps right now for both teams here? We finally got to look at these. What do you think?
This is why I'm not surprised to see Washed Up switch over. If you've got someone that feels more competent on the Zarya, you're gonna go for that. But Blaine's decided to switch over to the Ram. I don't mind Tarragon on the Cassidy. I think that's a fine swap. Rin's still able to put out damage on the Freya as well. But you're going to be looking for Lizard to get some good walls on this Mei.
Yeah, shades of Gen G from Warwick here. You know, they've got the Zarya and they've got a backline, particularly the Ana, that can pocket the Zarya. They've got decent off-angle control with the Mei as well, which is quite nice to see. But Warwick, they're just going to get first point without even taking a fight. And I guess that is the advantage of someone like a Mei. You basically have two tanks on your team, control so much space, and Blaine's going to try take some space of his own, try to get back on the point, but the nade from Lahaina is going to force him back, as the wall as well from Lizard manages to wall off Tarragon, who's went onto the Cassidy here as Rin trying to dig deep, but the bubble and the sleep dart from I'm Washed Up and Lahaina there, managing to shut down that Freya early. Another nade by Lahaina doing so much. Look at the ult charge. She's almost built nano in like it feels like a minute, coming up very close, but I think she's just gonna back up here, leave her Genji defend for himself as Hallam managed to get control of the point here.
Yeah, you can see how much she's having to do, because Jackalope hasn't been able to do too much himself. The Iori hasn't been able to find his footing in this fight, and it was a very nice wall from Lizard. It's exactly what you would have wanted to see, but two clutch shots from Core means that she was able to take out the Mei before too much damage was caused.
Yeah, I mean, that is the risk of the Mei. You know, you put yourself in the front line, you might sometimes get picked off just like randomly, and I mean, Core made that happen, and now both teams are building up some ults. Hallam maybe have a slight advantage, but Lahaina's going to start the fight early. Nano on two Graves, notably doesn't have the blade though, as the lamp comes out from 6 and is able to sustain a lot of the initial aggression, but oh, nice shurikens there, and lands the melee kill as Lahaina wraps up 2 kills of her own. Oh my goodness, she did so much on this Ana. I don't know why she started on Mercy last map, because she's doing tons on Moira and Ana, as this fight continues just to wrap up for Warwick as they get control of the point again.
Yeah, this Ana's going crazy, and one thing that we haven't talked about yet is how it plays into the Ramatra. You aren't able to just hold block in Nemesis form against the Ana because you're going to get slept out of it. You aren't able to just walk forwards because you're going to have to eat a Bionade. So you're in a really tough spot playing Ramatra into this Ana, especially when Lahaina's hitting all of their cooldowns and their shots, and her shots, quite as much as she's doing right now.
Absolutely, and the Mei pick as well from Lizard is another thorn in Blaine's side, as once Lizard gets the freeze perk online, if they decide to opt for that, that's a real problem for Ramatra, because you can just be frozen through the block, and Blaine, you're not going to be having the Nemesis form for the engage here, which is a little bit dodgy, but he's going to be coming up on the Annihilation, but I'm Washed Up Mei look for the grab here, they're all pumped up, surely, yeah, there we go, 3-man grab, and the Alari ult as well, coming through. Ult Bonanza here from Warwick, going for the Blizz, the grab, and the captive Sun, but it might not even matter, it might not even be enough, but I'm Washed Up manages to get a couple kills as the Bob isn't able to round out anything for Hallam.
Yeah, Bob was just off of point. That means that they weren't able to get anything from him, really, and Core doesn't put the Kitsune into that fight as well. I would have hoped for that coming through onto the point, to be honest, even if you're in the grab. If you're not able to make much use of it, it doesn't matter. You're in a final fight situation and your DPS might have needed it to try and round out the map, but it is Lahaina that's the star of the show so far. The Ana is taking over the lobby, as well as Washed Up has definitely been playing very well on this Zarya as well, with the support of Lizard. Those walls have been coming in clutch, but she's decided to swap off for the Ana. No, Just as I say that goes back onto it away from the Moira, but it's going to be the other team that brings out the Moira and the Junker Queen. So not too much of a surprise to see them switch things up after how well Night Market went, but we'll see how they do. And another Bionade landed by Lahaina to start off this one.
Yeah, the Bionade is huge, but it's not going to find anything in Blaine. It's just going to be taken out early, kind of cut off from the rest of his team. I don't know where Hallam are playing right now. I think they kind of zoned onto the bridge, but Tarragon, ooh, a couple nice shots, takes down Jackalope and Lizard quite early as Six tries to pit over the wall, but doesn't make it dink onto Lahaina. They're forcing her out. The I'm washed up, going to be trying to stabilize things a little bit for Warwick here as he gets a couple kills, and Core just decides to reset, I think, and falls off the map.
I think Tarragon just coach gunned away from his own Moira coming back to the fight, which was something to see for sure. They've got to keep a check on this, Anna. The amount of sleeps and everything. I know we keep putting it back and forth, but like when you're landing everything, you are going to be talking about them. And then again, another sleep to start off this fight. It means that the anti's there, and Blaine just about stays alive.
Suzu missed.
Yeah.
The Suzu missed initially from Core, and it puts so much pressure onto Blaine. Isn't able to get the healing that he needs, and Warwick are just able to wrap up this fight, press into the White Room, and take down Hallam before the fight can even get started, really.
Blaine's deciding to switch over to the Zarya, but you're in such a charge deficit at the moment. I think Washed Up was full charge at that point, going back to about 40 for the start of this next fight, but you might be able to round some up here as well. 82% and the grab. There's a lot of people on this bridge. This could go huge.
Yeah, there's no Suzu either. Yeah, I'm washed up's clocked onto that, and it's just going to be Blaine in the grab, but the supports can pocket him, and he's going to walk out mostly unscathed and very high charge. But oh, the damage, the high beam damage from I'm washed up there is just able to shut down Blaine. But the bob on point from Tarragon's going to be holding a little bit of space as Rin gets a kill onto Jackalope and Tarragon gets a kill onto Lizard, and it's going to be a 3v3 on the point right now. 6 goes for the Coalescence. I'm washed up. Nano going to be so low though. It's a beam battle on the point. Lahaina doing all she can to pocket her. Zarya as Grapes makes his return as Tarragon somehow falls off the map. I don't know what happened. And it's going to be final fight territory for Hallam here as Blaine tries to get back on the point with the rush from Core. Oh, just in time as Rin also falls off the map. Oh my goodness, everyone's fallen off the map. Grapes goes for the blade, gets one kill onto Core, looks for the kill onto Blaine, finds it alongside the Blizzard of Lizard, and it's going to be map 2 to Warwick with relative ease.
Yeah, I believe the 2 DPS went for the desperation plays to get over the bridge, but didn't quite find it. Potentially the coach gun not finding its mark to get Tarragon over, but I'm not sure what happened with Rin there at the end. But, I mean, Washed Up doing so well to control the match on this Zarya, and as much as we say the backline Ana is taking over the lobby, you can't do that without a strong frontline, meaning that you're not getting pressure on you. And the way that Hallam are going about these fights, they're not able to put any pressure in because Washed Up is just soaking up all of the damage and then being able to shove it right back at you on full charge pretty much every single fight they're in. I mean, you saw when they went for that grab onto the bridge, it felt like an inevitability that the other Zarya was going to lose out that fight. Even though they were able to stay alive for as long as they could, they were never getting back to that mega health pack, just with the sheer amount of damage that's being put out by the Zarya at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, swapping to Zarya when the other Zarya's been on that broken character for the entire round is always going to be a little bit risky because, like you mentioned, he swapped him when he was at a big charge deficit. So I don't think we can really blame Blaine there.
No,
I didn't even mean to, but it's just how it goes sometimes. And it, well, to be fair, it doesn't help when half your team's off the map. But it's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. And I think that was a very different game to Rialto. Maybe what the call from you to go on to control, maybe lean into more of the brawl will definitely pay dividends for Warwick there as they managed to kind of sustain and my service dislikes certain crosshairs. Oh
no.
goodness. Some preposterous crosshairs apparently. But I mean, whatever works. I mean, it's working for a few players from Warwick on that map, definitely. Whatever crosshair I'm washed up on the Hinner are using, I want to use that myself because they were doing very very well on that map in particular. But like you said, without the strong front line of I'm washed up that game, Lahaina can't do what she does best on that Ana pick and was able to put on so much pressure onto Cora in particular because the world's kind of on her shoulders to make sure she manages to get the big Suzus onto the huge nades that Lahaina was just kind of lobbing in the entire time, and well, it's a big burden. And if you mess up, then well, it's kind of wraps for your team, isn't it? We saw that a couple times in a couple fights for Hallam.
Yeah, and I mean, you see how much the strong front lines also managing to sort of alleviate the ability of Tarragon to find picks in those fights. I think there was a few times where Tarragon was racking up the kills, but it was at points where the rest of the team had gone down. You'd lost your tank. It doesn't matter at that point. You know, you're getting consolation picks, but at the end of the day, what does that do for you? You're not going to get control of the point. You're just going to have to wait for the rest of your team to come back. And by the time you're getting your tank back, especially without the Lucio to speed and taxi back when you're playing the more brawly characters like the Ramatra, like the Queen, um like the Zarya, you don't have the ability to get back as quickly. And it meant that the characters that were being picked off by Tarragon on the other side were just able to get back just as quickly. And even then, Washed Up was just sat there on the Zarya and becoming a brick wall basically, being helped out by the ice wall that was just behind them from Lizard as well. So I think they did very well for the moment. It is going to be a map 3, and we'll see what they're going to soon. I'd like to see Hallam stretch out the map again, go to something that's got a bit more range on it. Obviously, you've already chosen Rialto, so you can't go something like a Gibraltar, but potentially something like a Hollywood, um, playing the pretty much escort as well, playing the hybrid, and playing around those high grounds, really setting up Tarragon, whether you want to have him stick on the Ash or whether you have him go back to the Hanzo that of course won't be banned for this next match, but I would go to something like a Hollywood here, just be able to just to try to get a bit of an upper ground or a bit of a high ground on the high ground.
Is Hollywood even in the map pool? I'm looking at the map pool right now. I don't even see Hollywood, so I think
It might not be in there, to
it
be
might be.
honest.
I don't know.
I haven't checked it in a hot minute, so it might not be there. But
I'm right on
um,
Hybrid Flashpoint, which I think is the game mode you want to go. They're looking at Midtown, which immediately caught my eye.
yeah,
Kings Row, obviously a pretty classic map. Blizzard World, kind of pokey, I guess. Not really. And then Atlas and Saravasa, I will cry if Hallam picked them. I will cry.
the only other thing I could see you going for, and yeah, you're right. Hollywood is not in the map pool. Is potentially you could go for Colosseo, with how well you've been doing on these longer sight lines and how much of Colosseo is getting control of uh, that tunnel. That could be a play for them, but I believe we've got our map pick in, and we'll go to that in just a second. And it is going to be Kings Row, so not the place where you could take advantage of it most out of everything. But I think this is going to play into their favor a little bit more. It's going to be a little bit like Rialto. You do have a couple of places where you can play on the high ground, and they know how oppressive that Ana has been, and they've decided to ban it, and rightfully so.
Yeah, I mean, Honor on Kings, it's also just generally a solid hero to play. I quite like playing Honor on Kings Row. Maybe I'm misreading the game a little bit here, but I quite like, like posting up on the high ground. It's a very good map for nades. It has a lot of easy nade angles, and unless the other team kind of run dive, they can't really get on you. You're kind of just free to do whatever you want. Especially if you have someone a bit more defensive sitting with you, maybe a Break, maybe a Lucio, or even just a DPS like a Cassidy or something like that that can sit up there with you, that can kind of mitigate what the other team are trying to do. It kind of lets the Honor have free reign. So I think that's a very solid ban, both from a macro and individual perspective, because Lahaina was tearing it up. like we've mentioned so many times already on Lijiang there. But the Orisa ban, I want to know your thoughts more on the Orisa ban for by Warwick here.
Well, you can't really ban. Well, you can't ban out a support, and I think you don't really have the opportunity to focus ban a DPS either. So that's not too surprising, and especially if you're trying to get through first, this Orisa is going to be something that's really going to hurt you. You know, the Orisa can just stand in um, on Archway, can stand in on the initial push through and take everything away from you. So it's going to force Blaine to play something like the Ramatra, which they've decided to go with. You are going to see Tarragon back on that Hanzo that was working so well before, and that's not a surprise. So we'll see how this one goes. It's our final of the 3 maps, and immediately Grapes goes down to start this one off.
Really pick from Rin there. The Freya coming huge, as it has done a couple times this series, but I'm washed up. Gonna be shutting that down before she can get a couple more on the other side of Warwick and managing to get the kill onto Rin. But Legend is gonna have the ice block forced, so Hallam could look for a little push here once Rin returns, because Rin will just get back quicker than the Warwick player, but I think both teams are...
You say that Grapes is back already here.
True, yeah, true. I mean, Genji is quite fast. I think both teams are just going to be happy to kind of stalemate it out as Lizard goes for the wall onto Blaine. Not going to be able to find too much though. The barrier there managing to shut down a lot of the damage as the Immortality field is forced onto Grapes, and so is the Suzu for Blaine. And wow, the Immortality field by 6 as well is going to be used, and now Warwick can kind of walk in knowing that the Hallam have no cooldowns, but I think they're up to not to his Tarragon, and there's always the threat of the one-shot by this Hanzo, and the DPS of Hallam getting a couple kills. Jackalope and Lizard both going to fall as Tarragon finds a second with the sonar arrow of all things. I'm washed up, gets the kill back onto Core, but it's not going to be able to do much as Rin and Tarragon just do what we've been expecting of them this entire map.
Yeah, you can see how much Rin's been putting in. I know Bowler charges quickly, but not that quick compared to everything else, and that's been on the table since the start of this team fight. Now going up to the high ground to try and abuse that one Tarragon, backing up as well. Those 2 DPS looking to find an angle and make sure that it's not going to be Archway control for Warwick as well. The worst thing that you can have is losing this first capture point and then making sure that you can't get control of this Archway either. So they're going to have to play back past the first corner. It's going to hamper their defense a lot here.
I think they're respecting the fact that Hallam probably have a lot of ults here, because they have 5 ults. They literally have 5 ults, and Lahaina's just made the swap to Moira off the Baptiste. Like, I don't mind that swap, as Grapes manages to shut down the Hanzo there, but Rin again sniping out Jackalope quite early there, and Rin can go for the Bola if they like, but nope, Lahaina's gonna get the kill with the orb as Warwick slowly march on, and Hallam decides not to use any ults here. I'm a little bit confused, but you know what? Oh well.
There was some patience I really liked in that fight. Lizard had the ability to go for a big blizzard and didn't find it, but being stuck in the ice block out in the open, the cryo means that you're really vulnerable to the dragons, and Wash Up just about staying alive, being able to get back round the corner. Jackalope doing a good job to make sure that they stay up.
Burst healing from Alari is actually not something to sleep on at all. With Pylon and the beam, it is the full healing of Coalescence. And speaking of Coalescence, Lahaina's going focus damage here. Oh, Captive Sun as well. Good cleanse from Core, but Lahaina gets 2 kills with the Coalescence here. But it's Rin managing to get a trade back, still not unleashing any ults here, or Hallam, as they just accept the team fight losses. Work maybe caught them a little bit off guard there with the flank with the Coal.
Yeah, they've got full stagger onto Blaine as well, so it's going to be a little while for the tank to get back, and they still only used 1 of their ults. You would have liked to have seen 1 more come out from them, as both support ults are used by Warwick, but you see the team of Lahaina and Grapes just in the backline of Hallam, and that's really helping them at the moment. It means that Rin and Tarragon aren't able to stick on the high ground and just rain down hell from there. They have to be more sort of thinking about what's happening, but you don't when you combine your ults like that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the flank from Grapes and Lahaina was a bit too slow there, as Core catches them off guard with the Kitsune rush and manages to just wrap up this fight very quickly for Hallam before Warwick can even really respond.
I mean, Annihilation Kitsune Rush is something that's not always paired. Bit of a rogue one, but it doesn't matter. The amount of damage that the Ramatra is able to put out with both the almost Fortnite Storm around him and the punches, but they have grab coming back, and that's a big grab to start off the fight.
Yeah, Graves is also going to be going in with the blade. Lahaina trying to put a little bit of pressure onto Tarragon while her Genji does the work. But oh my goodness, the second she leaves, Tarragon gets a kill, shuts down the blade early doors, gets the second onto Lahaina. Oh my goodness, he's trying to do all he can for Hallam to get the second point, but Warwick just about managed to hang on with the 2 ults invested there.
Yeah, it felt like what we were seeing before, though. Tarragon gets the picks, but it's a little too late as Blaine just had absolutely everything shoved into him by Washed Up on the Zarya, and now the charge as well is so high for this next fight. It's going to trickle down a little bit, but you're still going to see about a 50 charge Zarya going up against you. Lizard does have to use the cryo to start off the fight, though.
Scary start for Lizard there, but he drops the wall, beaming down Blaine here, but Lahaina manages to get the kill onto, well, lots of trades both sides, and it mainly turns into a 3v2. Rin and Tarragon getting a couple kills for Warwick, but I think the flank from Lahaina and Graves there are able to shut down this fight before it can kind of reach a conclusion almost, as Lahaina tries to get the stagger kill onto Rin here.
Yeah, this could be big if it comes through, and it does. Lahaina manages to survive as well. That's really big of a stagger. And now with 30 seconds left, you kind of have to wait for your Freya to come back. That's one of the 2 ults that you're probably going to have in this fight. You might not have the Kitsune. You might not have the other 2 either. So you're going to be relying on this window and this bowler, but 6 has been sat on this window for a long time. I would have loved to have seen it used so that you can have it back up again, but it's going to be Lahaina onto Tarragon again, making sure that the Hanzo can't do anything in this next fight.
Yeah, there's the flank call for like the 20th time this series finds 2 kills, shuts down 6 in his window, and it's just going to be Core and Rin on the point. Core drops. The Kitsune rushes. Hallam tried to make a couple swaps to reach the point, and it's going to be Rin on the point again trying to clutch up, but he's a little bit outnumbered this time, and Warwick managed to get a good hold before Hallam can get into the inside part of King's Row here.
Hey, see how much these flanks are doing for Warwick. I mean, yeah, we've seen before how Tarragon's able to be sat in the backline, just launching logs towards the other team, but it's not going to matter if you've got both Grapes and Lahaina just raining down terror upon your backline. You can't get away from that. That Moira is going to hunt you down, and Grapes as well, just making sure to double up on those fights, those 2v1s or 2v2s against the 2 DPS, and they're not winning them out. The short field advantage, pretty much. Even though you're playing on a long sightline map, if you're able to get the jump on them and able to get in there quickly, it doesn't matter. These DPSs thrive with the ability to play from such a long sightline, and when you're playing against the other team, oh god, TikTok Moira. Yeah, that is pretty much what we're seeing, and I will say I hate the ability of how much you're able to do on the Moira with not a lot put in effort-wise, but it's going to be on Hallam to hold second and keep their hopes of their first win in our tournament alive. Is it going to be Warwick getting their first win, or is it going to be Hallam making sure to hold defensively? We'll see right now.
6 going for the Wu Yang, which is the first time with the couple of first time picks here in this series, the Wu Yang and the Juno. Warwick opting to go for some speed. The Lucio's not banned, but Lahaina, I guess, favoring the Juno. A bit more of a defensive pick, can't really be as aggressive or as TikTok-y, I guess, on Juno, but gonna be able to enable I'm Washed Up and potentially Graves here, maybe going for like a Juno, like a Ray Blade combo. But we'll have to see when they eventually build some ults, as Tarragon is just sitting on the high ground right now, managing to spam out Lizard a little bit, and he's going to be shut down and have to heal up as Rin looks for the kill onto Grapes here. Jackalope going to be getting a little bit of help though And whoa, okay, wow, never mind. Jackalope TP's in, but Rin doesn't care. He's going to take the 2v1 every single day. But Lizard and Lahaina get a couple of trades back, and now Hallam don't have any supports. And it's all on Blaine, Rin, and Tarragon here to try find as many kills as they can. There's going to be no cryo freeze for Lizard, as Rin, I think, has spotted that, and he's using the Rift to try and get the kill. But I'm washed up, going to get 2 kills, and just Tarragon right now. This isn't where you want to be as a Hanslow close quarters, as Warwick get initial control on this first point.
Yeah, and again, they're not going to get archway control here. It's going to be Warwick who are going to be able to push their advantage for the moment. I say that, but it might just about be someone heading back. Six is going to try and play it aggressively here, which, not sure about that one. Does manage to get a little bit of damage in, but doesn't do too much. And yeah, they are going to have to play around this corner, so 2 attacks, and neither side is going to be able to take the archway. This is something that you don't often see on Kings.
Yeah, the staggered deaths and the long time to get back means that choke point's just kind of out of the game. But I think it would be out of the game anyway, because look at the ults for Warwick. They have they're coming up on the Ray as Lahaina's doing all she can to build at 94%. Because I'm Washed Up does actually have the grab, but we're not even needed. This wall from Lizard is great as it forces the entire form out from Blaine there as Rin tries to respond with the Death Blossom to I'm Washed Up's grab as Tarragon drops the dragon as well, but it's not going to find anything because Lahaina goes for the orbital ray on top of the car, and there's going to be no deaths really aside from Lahaina, who makes the swap onto Lucio for Warwick there.
Yeah, and I have to say Lizard is completely the unsung hero in this. The walls that they're getting onto Blaine just means that the Ramattra doesn't have the backup of the rest of the team, and now, even with 3 minutes and 50 seconds left, they're already approaching this final objective, and they have to play very carefully here as another good wall comes out from Lizard.
Yeah, the Suzu's been forced as well, and Lizard is clocked onto that as Blaine drops early, doesn't even have time to put the Annihilation. That just might be Raps. Incredible Blizzard from Lizard there. I love rhyming that name, but oh my goodness, that is just immediate push for Warwick there, and they turned that completely around from Rialto, going stomping on Lijiang and now stomping on King's Row as well. And that means that Warwick will get their first win in USS this season.
Yeah, I mean, they started off in a bit of rough shape against Tarragon's Hanzo, but they found a way to deal with it, especially on their defensive side of King's Row, just completely shutting down what seemed to be the main character of Hallam's side. And yeah, a good 2-1 win means that they take their first win of our tournament and a little bit of momentum going into the playoffs. Obviously, with the way that our bracket works, we have several different playoffs for you, several different divisions. It's not just Div 1, Div 2. We have a lot of different ones going down our bracket for you. So these 2 teams will still be fighting for something next week. But in the meantime, we're going to have another set of teams that are going to be looking for their win to try and secure their place in our top bracket. When we get back, it is going to be UOL Arctic Foxes versus Donuts in what I believe is going to be a clutch matchup for both of them to see who is going to get into our Div 1 playoffs. Stay tuned. We will be right back bringing you that one.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the second round of University Student Showdown. This is the final week before playoffs, and this game, it could not be bigger. UL Arctic Foxes versus Donuts. Div 1 potentially on the line for both teams here. UL Arctic Foxes currently, if I look at the standings, they are in ninth place with Donuts down in 14th. And of course, Div 1's only top 16, so a loss here could spell the end for either team. UL maybe a little bit safer, but Donuts in the danger zone, in the relegation zone of Div 1 right now. So massive game for both teams here. What do we think about this matchup, Avalanche?
Yeah, it's scary for both of them. It is a good opponent map win percentage for UOL. They are the second highest of our 7 win teams, but that's not going to matter if you lose this game. You drop down to what will be potentially what 7 and 4, and there's a lot of 6 and 4, 6 and 3 teams that are going to be looking to take your place. So you can't really rest on your laurels here. It is a must win for Donuts. They are sort of lower down on the opponent map win percentage. So two teams that are going to be fighting for everything. And where we have a bracket of 16 teams, it means that Div 1's a lot smaller than perhaps you've got for NSE. You can't quite just sneak in there in sort of 32nd. That is going to be the bottom of Division 2 instead. We're going to go to the rosters. We have seen Donuts before this season up against, I believe it was Mandarinchester in potentially our first week. So, things to bring you. Chinese Dinos, very good tank player, not on tank. Is going to be playing the support instead. But we've seen how good I believe the Kiriko was from Chinese Diners before. You've got nothing as well on the tank. Good ball player. I believe both of these teams are going to be playing Wrecking Ball, and you don't have the player that was due to be the star of the UOL roster coming into this season either. So we're going to go to see what map we've got, and that is going to be Gibraltar with a ban of Hazard and a ban of Freya. So you're not able to abuse the Freya on the sightline quite as much. There's a lot of damage that you can do with the Freya onto the backline, especially if you're playing with a ball. You can do that damage with the Freya and then just send it in your ball to sort of bowl down the rest of the team, try and land a strike, and get the rest of the opposing team out of there. Instead, you're going to have to switch to something else that's probably still long range. And the Hazard, we've seen the Hazard play well into ball on second point, I believe it was before this season. We've seen Sig as well play well on second point, just not giving the other teams the ability to get through there. But yeah, this is as big as it gets. This is two teams that are fighting for their lives in Div 1, could potentially drop down to Div 2 if they lose this game. So yeah, everything on the line for the two of them.
Yeah, and I mean, if say UOL Arctic Foxes win this game, they actually will move up in the standings, which is always what you want. You always want a bit of an easier matchup at the start, maybe ease into the playoffs. You don't want to be dropping down to losers bracket right at the start. You don't want to be you don't want a shaky start, is what I'm trying to say. And I think UOL Foxes could bump up a few places here. Maybe not to some of the top dogs like we've seen Oxford, Southampton, Strathclyde, Abertay, those kind of teams, but maybe just like a slight tier below, and maybe make a little pretty deep run. Meanwhile, Donuts obviously trying to get that like mid Div 1 position, which is also pretty equally as good. Maybe a little bit of a start, more challenging start, but we'll have to see who wants it more this game, because these teams are quite evenly matched, I would say. Both teams have a couple of star players. Both teams have a couple of recognizable names. And yeah, well, both teams going for the ball. Kwayu going for the Junkrat, though. We were discussing a lot of the Junkrat last match. Maybe Kwayu took some tips. Oh, no, maybe sticking with the sim. Maybe just looking for a cheeky TP out of spawn. But what do you think about the comps here?
I don't mind it on either side. Spicy Bacon's gonna have to do a lot to maintain the ability to do much on the Reaper. Please don't do this to us, nothing. Please don't.
Uh-oh. Something's happening here. Nothing's on the Mog. A little TP strategy coming out from Donuts here, starting off with a bang, and they know that they gotta make something happen, and this is how to do it. Lots of pressure early onto Dire Raven here. Gonna drop 1 HP as nothing manages to find the kill. Spicy Bacon gonna also be quite low though. Shovel Man is quite safe on this high ground, but never mind. Oh, nothing makes me eat my words there. Suzu forced by Bood as Donuts get quite early control of this fight.
Yeah, I think what Joby put in chat sums up exactly my thoughts on this. So an ew put into the chat initially, and yeah, I completely agree with that. Nothing has gone back to switch to the ball, so it looks like it was just an aggressive play out of spawn, but you now have at least pretty much most of the way underneath the bridge, so that helps you a lot if you're Donuts. That surprise play gives you more than you think it would.
I mean, it's got them under the bridge and it's got them good value. Joby's going to be making the jump onto Far, gets the pick onto Chinese Dino. Good shot from across the map there as Donuts are going to be down there. Flex support as nothing's kind of feeling that, and so is Empty. His health bar is almost empty, and Joby's hunting for nothing here. Manages, he doesn't find nothing though, he finds a kill. And Arctic Foxes are going to be able to stabilize on this first point here.
Yeah, they've done well to just stabilize after the shock factor of the Mauga. I mean, I'm sorry for leading this in as a ball mirror and then just having that come out of nowhere, but it is what we're seeing now, at least.
Yeah. I mean, a ball mirror is always more entertaining than a Mauga. No one likes Mauga. But we're going to be seeing Arctic Foxes having... They're kind of winning the ult race right now. Empty did make the swap onto the Lucio. Both supports of Arctic Foxes are going to have ult. Joby coming up on the barrage as well, as Spicy Bacon gets the kill onto Dire Raven, and Joby gets the kill onto nothing and goes for that barrage. Finds Empty. He's found 2 kills this team fight. Tries to hunt down the Tracer, the Kiriko. Oh, bit of a risky teleport from Chinese Dino. He's going to have both his cooldowns forced, and Kwaiyu's trying to find a trigger. Oh, 4 kills for Joby this team fight, doing the work on defense here on Watchpoint Gibraltar.
The thing is, what do you have to counter Joby? You don't have the hit scan to be able to take the Pharah out of the skies. It's free airspace for the Pharah at the moment. I mean, the only hit scan you technically have is nothing, and you don't want your ball player just marking the Pharah the entire time. You want your ball in the backline. So, I mean, they have to really make a hit out of this Tracer and Reaper DPS line. Either that or they're just going to get picked off by Joby, which is what we saw before. But Quay says no. Quay says we do not need a hit scan to deal with that Pharah, and finds 2 of his own very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, you were just talking about having to go for a quick hit with the ball and the Tracer. I mean, that's exactly what they do. Quay is able to get a lot of kills, but Emergence goes for the mine. Suzu from Chinese Dino is not going to be able to save, going to be able to save nothing, sorry, as Quay does drop to his opposite number on the Tracer, as Donuts managed to get first point with both balls using Minefield. Not too many ults used overall, though.
Yeah, it's just a very dangerous point. There's 2 minefields on there. No one's able to stick around, and Nothing finds something with it. Finds 2. Emergence and Joby, who's decided to switch off of the Tracer. But as I say that, Spicy Bacon's gone into the backline and found both Dire Raven and Food to start off this fight. A good Blossom.
Yeah, early Blossom is good on this point. You know, ball comps, like, there's a team fight, but it's quite a strange structure, the team fight. And a lot of this point is just making it, like, putting the other team under pressure, which I think is what Donuts wants to do with this double flex DPS line. And oh, Joby gonna be getting the kill onto Chinese Dino as Dire Raven looks for the overclock as well. Might not have even been necessary as Joby gets a second kill on his own, and it's just gonna be nothing on the point here, and he's gonna be gunned down by the Arctic Fox's DPS. There's the rail, and that is gonna be a solid defense with just overclock used.
Yeah, in the meantime of that, Shovel Mount eventually goes down in the fight, but not before finding a very big Bionade onto, I think it was 2 or 3 members of Donuts, and I think that secured the kill onto Quayo in that fight. So something that might not have been seen before, but you do have Donuts with both support ults into this next fight.
Gonna be under a lot of early pressure as well. Spicy Bacon getting the kill onto Dire Raven. Hold that pulse bomb back Quayu there. Goes a little bit wide, but Joby, oh, bit of a Kobe there onto the tank of Donuts as Empty drops the beat to sustain, but it's only gonna be a 3-man beat as nothing gets bionated. He's gonna be dropping so low. Kitsune Russian Chinese Dino as well as the backline of Donuts are gonna be finding 2 kills each, or a kill each, sorry, 2 kills in total, as Chinese Dino continues to look for kills onto Dire Raven here, and the Minefield is just gonna zone them off the point, and that is gonna be a solid point capture thanks to the work of Chinese Dino and Empty in particular.
I thought that was a headshot for a second, but still, it's a really good shot from Chinese Dinos to snipe Dire Raven out of the skies. Means that they get the final kill, and 235 is a pretty good time bank going into third on Gibraltar. As these two teams seem to be pretty evenly matched.
Yeah, I mean, it was looking a little bit dicey for Donuts on the first point. They were taking their time. Joby was finding so much value on this Pharah, but he's made the spot to Tracer, and that has been working. But Donuts, they found their rhythm a little bit, I think, and as Joby does get the kill onto Quayu, and Spicy Bacon drops quite low. Shovelmain maybe looking to go for a nano here, as Emergence keeps looking for a little hit onto the backline, has his Tracer waiting in the wings, might just use never mind, no nano needed, as Dire Raven finds the look into Quayu. Nano onto Dire Raven though, looking for big damage, misses the shot onto Empty though, as he just manages to escape by the skin of his teeth, as nothing is going to be so low in the backline. He's getting hunted, but he's going to go for a little swing round, and Spacey Bacon looks for the Death Blossom here, finds one, finds the second as well. The speed from Empty, gonna be speeding him along, and Donuts get control of this this attack here.
Yeah, nothing goes sort of chase me to the edge of the map, and I'm gonna swing all the way around. In the meantime, you're not expecting the backline Reaper, and it finds a lot on that Death Blossom. The overclock from Dire Raven's used. They need to find something here.
And the Minefield were both used there, and the Minefield eventually gets the kill onto nothing as Dire Raven chunks him down. And Quayu, I don't think maybe they've not scouted him out, that he's waiting in the wings, maybe looking for a cheeky pulse bomb onto Shovelman potentially. He's kind of the easiest pulse bomb target, but with Bood looking for maybe the Suzu early, but never mind. Oh my goodness, hit onto the Sojourn, but Joby's going to shut down Quayu before he can even go for the pulse bomb. Nothing going to be going for the mines as well, with Chinese Dino layering the Kitsune rush on top as Spicy Bacon gets the kill with the Dire triggers onto Bood, as Nothing and Empty continue to get a couple kills, and it's just going to be Joby and Dire Raven alive, but it's not going to matter. Empty has the beat and Quayu has the pulse bomb, and they're not even going to need to use them as the cap with 32 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, it's a good attack side from Donuts, as both of them, again, fighting for Div 1. They're doing well at the moment. I think Joby just not quite finding as much impact on the Tracer. It's still doing a lot, but, I mean, the Pharah was going insane, and especially when you just have no one to bring you down. I think they might need to find something else. Nothing has very slightly been winning the ball mirror for me as well. Not by much, though. I mean, these two teams are very evenly matched. And I don't know, the Reaper's finding more than I thought it would. Gibraltar, often a map where it's quite difficult to close the distance, especially with the comp that UOL are using. Maybe not the ball, but the Sojourn should be able to find a lot of damage onto you before you can really do too much. It means that the TPs and the fades from Spicy Bacon have had to be perfect, and at the moment they have been. They decide to go onto the cast, though, which not the most surprising thing to see, to be honest. I think the Reaper doesn't do as well on defense. You have to get aggressive on it, and that doesn't do too well on Gibraltar. Instead, especially with the ball, they're going to look for the ball to engage and maybe capitalize off the back of that, maybe strand the ball with a flashbang or something like that. But it's going to be a little bit until they get into that situation.
Yeah, both teams going for the Cassidy. Actually, Dire Raven making a swap off of the Sojourn that he was finding some success on Arctic Fox's defense. As both teams kind of stage, and Bood going to be dropping quite early as Donuts managed to get a couple kills quite quickly onto Dire Raven and Bood. I think there's maybe a little bit of a miscommunication in the backline there. Joby getting a trade back onto Empty though, as Nothing again finding another kill onto Arctic Foxes, and this attack's going to be stopped very, very quickly by Donuts here.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether Buddha gone for the quick hit with Emergence onto the backline, TPing in. I think that's what happened, but a nice first kill in this next fight for Spicy Bacon is going to be a while for before the cast returns to this fight.
Yeah, that's the we see the upside and the downside of Cassidy there. The lack of mobility, but the pretty high burst damage. You're basically like a walking sojourn rail as Kwayu manages to shut down the cast on the side of Arctic Foxes as well. So there's going to be no high damage source for either team right now until Spicy Bacon gets back in the fight as Joby continues to do his tracer duty on this map as Kwayu tries to mark him on the bot. No recall for Kwai's gonna be dropping so low. Joby as well is forced to recall. It's gonna be even Stevens right now on the cart, right? Joby finds Spicy Bacon and gets the Mega and is able to sustain the fight as he gets the kill onto Kwayu. Kwayu also tries to go for the pulse bomb, but it goes a little bit wide as Arctic Foxes continue pushing thanks to the great work of Joby on the cart there.
Yeah, it's a massive amount done by Arctic Fox's Tracer there. Just completely winning out the team fight for them. They lose two to it. They lose both of their DPS and they can't really do anything in this fight. Now they're going to try and go back in. Empty gets a good first kill, but they lose nothing.
Yeah, nothing goes down out of the blue, and Chinese Dino's going to go down as well. Spicy Bacon tries to keep things going with the high noon, but the nano onto Joby. This is not the man you want to see with the nano boost. But Kwayu, oh my goodness, he's saying no. I'm not the only tracer. He's not the only tracer here. As Shovelman managed to land the sleep onto Kwayu, but it doesn't manage to find the kill as Donuts continue their hold on Gibraltar.
Yeah, Spicy Bacon saving Quayu's Bacon there. The antied and slept Tracer. Spicy Bacon comes down from the top rope, says, no, you're not doing that to my other DPS, and Shovelman gets taken down for their troubles.
Fire Raven's going to go down early as well. A couple crisp shots from Spicy Bacon there. And the backline is going to be quite out of position, and nothing's spotted that. Ana able to kite out Shovelman and Bood managing to get out of this double flex backline. It's a little bit risky into the ball comp, but it has kind of been working. But on the attack, it's kind of hard to stage your Ana as we're kind of seeing here. And Emergence trying to find an angle to maybe go for the mines here, as Arctic Foxes do have a ton of ults, and Donuts do have a couple of their own. They have the Tidal Blast, Kitsune, and Minefield as nothing goes for it here, slamming down onto Shovelman. Good sleep there. Suzu goes a little bit wide, and Dire Raven's maybe going to pay the price, but never mind. Kwayu has to get out, back to the cart and mark Joby, and ooh, dink from Chinese Dino there, manages to shut down Joby, but Shovelman gets the trade back onto Spicy Bacon, and they could still look for a team fight here, and yes, they do. The Noon and the Kitsune and the Minefield all coming out from Arctic Foxes, but the Pulse Bomb from Kwayu there, oh, cold onto Dire Raven, the Tidal Blast on Kwayu as well. They're putting everything into this Tracer, trying to get him to carry the team fight. Empty going to be getting the kill with the Tidal Blast thanks to Kwayu hunting Shovelman down like a dog, and it's just going to be the ball on the cart for UL Arctic Foxes right now. Bood needs to do a good job of keeping it alive, but the High Noon's going to take him down. Spicy Bacon in the back of the map, and it's only going to be 10 seconds left for Arctic Foxes here, and I think Emergence needs to go for a bit of a miracle touch here. You see him trying to go up the stairs. The flashbang going to slow him down early, as the slam and the Wu Yang shots are just going to take him down so fast, and that is going to be a first point hold for Donuts there.
I mean, really well played for Donuts, and you can see how much this match means to them. It's their Div 1 lives on the line, trying to get into the playoffs. And I mean, definitely for this team with how low they are on opponent map win percentage. But I mean, the DPS line of Donuts came into their own on this defensive side. We saw a couple of incredible plays from Joby on the other side, but Quayo and Spicy Bacon just sort of ended up locking it down by the end of the match. And even with the amount of ults that were dumped in by the Arctic Foxes, they weren't able to find it in the end. It is going to be 1-0 up to Donuts, but I mean, UOL have the choice of map here again, and I'm not sure where you go here, because they're playing very similar comps. I mean, potentially a control map?
Maybe. I mean, the control maps in the polar Lijiang Tower, Ilios, Antarctic Peninsula, or Oasis. Lijiang, okay for ball. Antarctic Peninsula, maybe not great for ball. Oasis, I think it's all right at certain points in Oasis, but the map that stands out to me, if you're looking for a ball mirror, which they did lose there, but I don't think it's because they were the worst team. I think that was actually quite even. They just kind of got unlucky in that final fight. Maybe the Kitsune rush was a little bit out of place. The pulse bomb from Quayu, I mean, you can't really say that Arctic Foxes did terribly, considering Quayu just went crazy in that final fight. He got like 4 kills on his own. He got the tidal blast as well. He got everything pumped into him and managed to make something happen with it. But if I'm Arctic Foxes personally, I'm looking at Ilios because it's a ball map, but I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I think something like an Ilios or a Lijiang is what I would go to. You can't really get around the fact that you're playing a ball mirror unless you feel like you can play something else. But I believe these two teams just want to play the ball, which is fair enough. They have the ability to, but like you were saying, Arctic Foxes didn't really lose that. It's more that Quayu won it. An incredible play to end that up. Gets the pulse onto the Cassidy, gets the kill for Empty with the tidal surge, and yeah, they're playing really well at the moment. This is a team that's locked in, and I don't think it matters where you take them. It's going to be a tough fight either way. Um, yeah, I mean, realistically, we'd be saying something that favors one team and doesn't favor the other. But these teams are so similar in what they were playing. I mean, the only difference between what they were playing in the end of that map was the Ana instead of the Wu Yang. There was only one change from between the two teams, so it's not as if you can exploit that against the other team. Um, I think you just have to pick your best map and go. Do we know? Do we know? I probably we don't.
I don't know.
The other
I,
the other thing that I could see them going for is potentially a Flashpoint map. Flashpoint plays well for ball. The amount of directions that you can attack from. Yeah, you don't. You guys probably know what the map pick is anyway. Production. We're gonna hear it soon. I would bet, but yeah, I'd say either Ilios, something like Lijiang maybe, or I'd say probably Surabasa. Are the three that I would circle as if you want to play the ball. Um, but yeah, we'll see what they decide to do. Maybe you have the flexibility on tank to go to something else and bring something out of left field. I mean, we have seen something out of left field before, but that was from Donuts and it was a Malga, so I don't really want to see that again.
True. I mean, maybe Arctic Foxes, maybe they're considering that. They're like, you know what, they went Morga at the start. Let's just try pick a map that is just terrible for Morga. Let's just try to do that. Although I think that would be maybe a little bit silly because it didn't really have that much of an impact. It just got them a little bit of progress on the first point, but we don't know. Um, yeah, Suravasa is a solid map, ball map. Atlas, I quite like as a ball map. I know a couple ball players quite like Atlas, particularly. I think it's the town center point is quite good for a ball. It's very open, so there's a lot of room to find a couple of creative engages. There's a couple spots to spider as well. So we'll have to see what they go for. But we have heard what map they're going to, and it's going to be Runa Sapi. Interesting
Ball's
pick.
banned as well. That's
Oh,
huge. That's actually huge. That's out of left field.
that's yeah, that's I didn't see that coming. I did not see that coming. I wish we knew what team went for that ban, but I'm gonna guess it was maybe Donuts that went for the ball ban there, even though they won, because I think they're on the right side of the screen. But I appreciate the ball ban on Runasapi. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Well, the thing is, we've seen the flexibility of nothing, even though it was flexibility onto Malgo, which bit grim. Don't want to see it again. They can play it however they want. They are fighting for their tournament lives. Their Div 1 lives, shall we say. They are still in the tournament if they don't get into Div 1, obviously. The Div 2 playoffs are there for us, but you have the ability to play the Malga. And you know that the other team is going to want to play the ball. At the end of the day, you're forcing them off of what they want to play onto potentially something that you know that you can play better. And I think this favors, unless something is in the back pocket for UOL, I think this favors Donuts. And they're going to go for Roadhog, which Shovelman's been playing well. You have the ability to shut down the Hog on the Ana, but I mean, you're going to have to play very well around it. Instead, it's going to be a very different DPS line as well. Not really anything. Well, nothing mirrored here. As much as we've been saying how much of a mirror it was last map, there is nothing mirrored here. So these two teams are going to be playing very differently into each other.
Yeah, that's what Rune Sapi can do. It's a flat map, so crazy things can start to happen as Kwayu scales early on the left side, getting some good pressure onto Dire Raven as Joby and Dire Raven are both going to be dropping half HP. And Donuts getting early control of the fight here. Dire Raven forced into a very difficult spot as Joby burned the cooldowns a bit too early, and nothing's going to punish that. Maybe looking to walk onto Shovel Man here as they're kind of trapped in that little room, and that's the last place you want to be. Burst nothing on the Orisa. As Kwayu gets another kill this team fight, and Donuts early pressure on Rune Sapi here. Good staging.
Yeah, just as we were saying about how well Ana plays into Ramatra on our previous matchup, the Orisa plays quite well into it as well. The spear will interrupt the block, meaning that you can get a lot of burst damage onto the Ramatra even in Nemesis form, but nothing is quite exposed here. Gets Dire Raven though with the help of Spicy Bacon, saving the bacon once again.
Yeah, I mean, that's an early pick. That's kind of what you want from your Cassidy. You know, maybe there's not much range for Cass on this map. It's quite long range, but it doesn't matter if your Cass is able to just take some aggressive angles and emergence. He's going to be forced back so far. The Nemesis form might not even save him. The Bionade from Shovelman managing to keep his tank alive. And good flashback from Spicy Bacon. Oh, kill onto Joby. Maybe swap off the Venture Scene to Cass, but it doesn't matter. Spicy Bacon doesn't care what you want. He's going to cook you either way. And he does have the Deadeye coming up here as well.
Yeah, you can see how much they've been doing. Spicy Bacon and nothing, as they already gotten the forward spawn objective. This could be a bit of a snowball here. And even if you all are able to find a fight in the end, it's going to be so hard to push back against this lead and deficit already. And nothing comes in with a Terror Surge as well. That gets 2, almost gets 3 as well. Emergence is going to go down, and this just, it keeps rolling for UOL. They now have nothing left, really. Chinese Diners put the window in as well. The only thing you're going to have is Empty coming back with the Tidal Surge. And you do have both support ults for UOL, but I mean, this snowball could just keep going. This Rolling Stone is not going to get any moss on it anytime soon if Donuts have anything to say about it.
I think Donuts have noticed that they are going to be at a bit of an ult deficit, and UOL know they have the upper hand, and there goes nothing. Maybe he's standing a little bit too out in the open, should have kited back to this middle lane as Emergence keeps marching on with the Nemesis form. Gonna have the barrier, gonna kind of hold up here as he tries to remove the forward spawn. Kwayu going down to his opposite number, Joby, getting 2 kills this team fight, and they're not denying the forward spawn. Kwayu and Spicy Bacon are gonna make it back pretty cool just in time. Kwayu and Spicy Bacon are gonna have a bit of a walk back from the far spawn.
Yeah, but no ults used by UOL, and yeah, nothing playing just a little bit too far forward, caught out trying to get back to the rest of the team, but you got 4 ults coming in for UOL. The snowball going the way of Donuts seems to have turned round, and if they can use this ult advantage for them, it could be forward spawn back, so it's going to be them looking to use the Tidal Surge first and get something off the back of it.
Early Tidal Blast from Empty there onto Kwayu, manages to find Dire Raven as Donuts. They're playing fast, they know they have to, and they get a couple ults out of UOL Arctic Foxes, the Annihilation, Nano Boost, and Kitsune Rush all used, and it's not going to even find too much, because look at the bot, it's almost going back to the middle of the map, and I don't think Arctic Foxes have realized it, and that's an excellent fight for Donuts there. 1 ult for 3.
Yeah, nothing's done really well to just grab bot control early in that fight. Emergence goes down at the end of it as well, isn't able to get away, so it's going to be a while before they have their tank presence. You just have to sit back now if you're Donuts and get back to the rest of your team. Make sure you don't lose anyone in this situation, because now you have the advantage, at least for the moment, before Emergence comes back on the Zarya, so they made that switch over.
Yeah, he was thinking about going to mirroring the Orisa, but I like the Zarya pick as a flat map, and it's got an alright matchup into the Orisa. But a couple ults coming up for Donuts here, but Joby, gonna be shutting that down real fast. Doesn't even have to use an ult. The Disruptor Shot as well, gonna be taking out the Immortality Field of Chinese Dino, and now they're gonna be under a lot of pressure. Nothing, maybe gonna have to use the Terror Surge to even live, but the Pulse Bomb, tactical Pulse Bomb from Joby there on the floor in front of him, and nothing has nowhere to go right now, and he's just trying to hold his ground, maybe look for the Terror Surge here. No, as UOL get a good kite. But he goes in now when he has the spear spin. Good Suzu from Bood there, and Shovelman manages to get the trade back into Kwayu. It's empty, spams down these Wu Yang water balls and gets the kill onto Dire Raven, and Chinese Dino with the window, trying to zone out Shovelman. He's in an awful spot right now. How is he alive? Oh my goodness, empty finally getting the final blow there, getting the second kill.
Oh my word, the corner as well!
The waterbender on Wu Yang right now. He got the kill round the corner onto Joby there. As Donuts continue marching, they have no ults, but they're coming up on the tidal blast as Dire Raven goes for the overclock, but he's going to drop so low. Kwayo looking to where he's going. Oh, disgusting shot from Dire Raven there. Good kill onto the Tracer as they continue to go forward. Joby getting the kill onto Spicy Bacon, but gets the flashbang kill back on a Martyrdom kill with the flashbang as UOL going to be up a one player as Empty does still have this tidal blast. Could look for it onto his tank. Maybe he's looking for it. No, he's still holding it right now as Bood could go for the Kitsune rush, but he's going to opt not to for the time being. Immortality Field forced is nothing. He's under so much pressure. The wave going to be coming in, and the tidal blast finally coming in. And now Emerge is going to be under a lot of pressure. No bubbles, but the Nano's going to come out onto him. Goes for the grab, and it's going to find nothing, but it's going to find the tank player nothing. Sorry, nothing, not nothing at all, as nothing is dropping so low and dies on the bot. Emergence getting 2 kills this fight. Such high charge on the Arctic Fox's Zarya.
Yeah, Quay wasn't able to find the pulse either at the end of that fight, trying to go for a desperation one, doesn't find anything. And the longer these fights go on, the more it benefits Emergence, and that Zarya gets more and more charged. You see by the end of the fight, even with how much health Nothing has, it's just dropping so low so quickly.
Yeah, the sustain from the Wu Yang Bap is a lot, but sometimes not enough. Is a massive nade onto 3 players of Donuts right now, and Emergence has clocked onto that as Nothing drops so low, but Spicy Bacon holding his ground, managing to get the kill onto Joby. His Boo drops so low, Kwayo hunting like a dog. Oh, good sleep onto Kwayo there from Shovelman though, as he's dropped so low and not able to get out, and Emergence loses all his hard-earned charges. Empty gets another 2 kills on this Wu Yang. He's doing so much on this support.
Yeah, I mean, Wu Yang just an insanely broken character. The amount of damage that a support can put out, going around the corners as well, that kill onto Joby earlier was just absurd. Just a blind kill round the corner trying to scout out if someone's there through the window, takes down the entirety of the Tracer's health. It's a one-shot at that point. And yeah, they have to be careful again here as they push the bot forward, and the more time it sits here, the better it gets for Donuts. It means that when it gets into overtime, it's going to be more and more fight wins needed.
Yeah, we're going to see Chinese Dino look for the window here. Bubble forced from Emergence, but Chinese Dino is going to be pumping up so much damage to Immortality's force as well. He has no cooldowns, and Nothing needs to be a little bit careful here. Pops the barrier as Emergence tries, maybe gets a little bit too big for his boots there. Saw his high charge and thought he could one-shot, but Nothing stops him at all costs from getting onto that Baptiste. He does go down to Joby, finishes Emergence's work as he, pulse bomb onto his opposite number. You don't see that every day. Kwayu respects his Tracer opponent as Nothing continues to try kite back here, and it's going to be an okay fight for Donuts. Spicy Bacon rounding out the team fight with a kill onto Joby.
Yeah, I mean, good fight all round, and the longer the spot stays here, the better it gets for Donuts. The more time that they can eke out here means that it's going to be a longer and longer push in overtime for UOL. Just a Terror Surge to sustain that at least, so has to find that for now. But yeah, they are going to have to be careful. The overclock has to get big here.
Doesn't find anything though. He's going to die so fast. Spicy Bacon, he's coming up huge in this series. Joby going to shut him down, and he has Nano Boost looking to go on Chinese Dino here, and Nothing is kind of left out in the open right now. He has nothing left, and he's got no cooldowns. He has the barrier. Thankfully, Chinese Dino comes in huge with the lamp, but it's not going to be able to do much as Nothing falls to Emergence here as Kwayu tries to get a couple trades back, but there's so many people around Shovelman right now. It'd be a miracle if he found anything. Empty. But he somehow got a kill. Like, how does he even manage to do that? I actually don't know. What he's scored nuts on this Wu Yang. Broken hero.
Yeah, I mean, it's big, and it means that they have the Tidal Blast in for next fight as well. The Zarya's high charge at the moment, but not 100%, and that is the only good thing that they have for this fight for UOL is the ultimates. They have to use them sparingly though, as now it's 10 seconds left. You have to win every team fight from here to keep yourself in Div 1.
Yeah, have to chain a few fights, but early kills from Donuts. So he's going to shut this fight down before it even really gets started. It's all on Joby with the post bomb, but the immortality field is going to be huge, and that's just going to be mapped done immediately for Donuts, and it's going to be a 2-0 as they keep their Div 1 dreams alive, and UOL Arctic Fox's hopes of Div 1 are no longer in their hands, as it depends on the results of other games in USS. But congratulations to Donuts there for securing their place in Div 1 with that comfy 2-0 win.
Yeah, and the ball ban just really paying off for them. Nothing looked really at home on that Orisa, and there wasn't really much that UOL could do to stop the tank player of Donuts, who now I believe are with that result officially qualified for Div 1. It's going to be a nervous wait for UOL to see if they make it as well. Their high opponent map win percentage might just be something that tips them over the edge, weighs out the scales, but they're going to have to be very, very hopeful to see that some other scores might have come in. In the meantime, you do have the game that is going to decide our first seeds. A little bit of a broken system for us today means that Oxford and Southampton have played each other twice. But just looking around at the other results, Southampton seem, one of the top teams that were in the a similar position as these two teams going into that one. They do win out their match against, I believe it was one of the Swansea teams. Yes, Swansea Silly String. So they are now another 7-4 team going along with UOL. I believe the opponent map win percentage might just make sure that UOL are safe, but nothing is confirmed for them so far. They're still going to have to wait on everyone else and see what comes through. But yeah, congratulations to Donuts. They have been able to secure their place in Div 1 for this first winter split of the University Student Showdown.
Well deserved, I think, based on that series. Sorry, that we just saw, is very well deserved. The flexibility of the team coming in there, particularly from nothing, on swapping from the ball. Started on the Mauga, didn't really wasn't on Mauga for too long. Went onto the ball, put on a very solid performance on the ball, both on offense and defense, and then pulled out the Orisa, broad range of tanks. Pulled out empty on the Wu Yang as well, managing to find so much value, particularly on Runasapi. We didn't see too much of it on Jib, but Runasapi in particular. I mean, it's pretty solid Wu Yang map. It's quite easy to hit the orbs when you're on a even ground. And I mean, to be fair, he didn't really care if he was on even ground. I mean, remember that kill around the corner of Joby on the high ground, bending it round like two walls. Disgusting hero. I think Joby made a comment on it during the game as well. But everyone hates Wu Yang. Everyone hates Wu Yang. Broken hero. But yeah, congratulations to Donuts that game. I think well, they were ninth going into this game. So like you said, the high OMWP could help them. They had a opponent match win percentage of 76.67. So maybe they'll be fine. But we'll have to see. It all kind of comes down to some of the results, particularly from the top Div 2 teams like Southampton Seamew, Weather Fries, UOB Hera, Hallam Hunters. Those kind of teams also have quite a high opponent match win percentage, and they're only one win behind Arctic Foxes as well. So kind of remains to be seen what is going to happen for them. I think we do have an interview coming up after we go to a short break with one of the players from, or a couple of the players actually, from Donuts. So we'll see you in the interview shortly. Welcome back, everyone. After that confident win by Donuts, we have Nothing and Empty, the tank and Wu Yang player for Donuts. We'll start off with Nothing. How do you feel like that game went? Were you worried going in knowing that it's kind of all or nothing for you guys to stay in Div 1?
I mean, not really worried going into any game, but yeah, it's good to see us playing like at least somewhat near our potential because it's been trash before this. But hey, it's getting better. It's getting better.
That's good. That's good.
Well, you look confident going into that match, and I mean, we thought you were confident initially, deciding to go for the Malga, which we still haven't forgiven you for yet. But you decided to go
Not a fan.
for uh, not really. But not exactly the best thing to commentate over, but it did work for shock factor, both for the stream itself and for your opponents. But you showed your flexibility as well, abandoning the ball for the second map and going over to the Orisa. Is that something that you had planned going into something like a Runasapi going up against another team that wants to play the ball?
Yeah, I mean, kind of helps that I'm not a one trick, and ball actually requires coordination, and we're lacking in that. So if we just don't play ball, pan ball against a one trick team, and it works out perfectly fine, honestly. But yeah, Malga's one hero I do not want to play, so I'm definitely been dragged onto that one for the Zin.
You're not to blame then for the Malga pick, but still it's despicable behavior from the team as a whole. But what was also despicable was Empty on the Wu Yang. How did you feel on the Wu Yang into the slightly more aggressive Anakiri backline because you're going for the Kiri Wu Yang maybe a little bit safer? How did you feel playing into that, knowing that you might have to kind of maneuver around the Ana pick a little bit from Arctic Foxes?
It helps because Wu Yang's broken. That character's still way too strong. Lamp plus Wave just means Orisa just doesn't die. And yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, especially I saw that Lucio ban, I was like, I'm just going to play Wu Yang. I'm just going to sit back at map and just shoot my gun. It helps that they were just running, the only flanker was Tracer. So because they were running Anakiri Soj stuff, it meant like the only person who can touch me is Tracer. And as long as my Tracer marked their Tracer, I can just like kind of be free. So it's not a character I'm confident in. I'm low-key a Lucio one trick, but it's a fun character, so it's worth trying out, and it kind of worked.
Yeah, I think at one point we saw a sort of disgusting kill as you got triple orbs up
Oh,
through a window, one-shotting a tracer that you couldn't
yeah.
even see. I mean, that was grim for us to watch. I think that was more
I,
grim than seeing the Malga out on first map, to be honest. But
yeah, I definitely killed JJV around the corner a few times. I felt really bad.
but yeah, congratulations to you guys and just consolidating. What are your thoughts, Empty, going into the Div 1 playoffs now that it seems like you're confirmed with that win?
uh, I think all these teams are obviously super, super strong. And we've obviously struggled quite a lot this season, but I feel like if we like get some certain stuff together, I don't think anyone's like out of the picture. Like, I feel like we can take maps, if not series, off maybe not the top three, but most of those teams we can have at least some sort of competitive showing. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, you've sort of been a team that's been there or thereabouts, sort of consistently Div 1, so aiming to punch above and get up to those higher rankings here. I think that's definitely something that's on the cards for you guys if you play as well as you did today. Firstly, I'm going to ask Nothing, is there anyone you want to shout out before you head off of our stream here?
Nah, just shout out to all my teammates. Played well today, and shout out to Spacey Bacon. He was in some clips as well.
Was
Empty, same for you. Is there anyone else you'd want to shout out? Doesn't have to be just from your team; can be just anyone in general.
well, I'll shout out all. I'll agree with Nothing with the shout out the team. I also want to shout out an alumni of ours who goes by the name Harry9394. I'm filling in his shoes almost for donuts, so I feel like I need to. I feel like I have to. I have to. He's helped me quite a lot with getting used to this whole donut stuff. So I feel like I have to give him a shout out. Been a big help.
Well, congratulations on your win today, securing you into our Div 1 playoffs, which, of course, we will be bringing you next week live on our streams. Stick around to see who else will be there, as We're going to see a lot of results come in, and nothing is certain at the moment. There are several teams that are on the brink and looking to get into those final places. But for now, we're going to thank the rest of our production staff who have been working behind the scenes to bring you our tournament today. That is Luau and Friday producing and also observing Friday alongside Mochi. Of course, we've had me and Sky Knight on the broadcast with you and Reclaimer as well, holding down the fort and doing pretty much everything in between. But that's all we have for today. Remember to stick around and we'll be posting the results and seeing who our top 16 teams will be. And of course, remember that it's not just going to be our top 16 teams that are vying for a championship. There are Division 2, 3, 4, 5, and I believe 6 and potentially even 7 playoffs for us to come, and we will bring you all of them very soon. But for now, it's goodbye from me and Sky Knight.
Bye, everyone. Always a pleasure casting 2 amazing games today. Awesome stuff.
And it's goodbye from everyone else at USS. Goodbye for now.